Did you know that only 10% of the world's population is left-handed? Yet, left-handed people have always fascinated and intrigued scientists. Why are some people left-handed while the majority of the population is right-handed? And is it simply a matter of preference, or is it written in our genes? Today, we are going to explore the mysteries behind this phenomenon and discover what determines whether a person will be left-handed or right-handed. Most people use their right hand for most daily tasks, but for about 1 in 10 people, it's the left hand that dominates. This preference may seem trivial, but it raises fascinating questions about biology, genetics, and even human evolution. Why is such a small part of the population left-handed? Let's dive into this mystery together. One of the first things to understand is that hand dominance has a long and complex history, going back thousands of years. The majority of humans are right-handed, and this phenomenon seems to go back to our earliest ancestors. Archaeological studies show that prehistoric tools and cave drawings reveal a dominance of the right hand in humans for hundreds of thousands of years. Tools were mostly designed to be used by right-handed people, and even ancient artwork shows a preference for the right hand. But this right-hand dominance is not just a matter of cultural practice or habit. Recent studies have shown that the preference for the right hand could be linked to deep structures in our brain. Indeed, the way our brain controls our movements plays a crucial role in which hand we prefer to use. But then, if most people are right-handed, why are some people left-handed? The key to understanding why some people are left-handed lies in the brain. The human brain is divided into two hemispheres, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. In most people, the left hemisphere controls the movements of the right hand and is also responsible for language and many other important cognitive functions. For left-handers, things can be a little different. In their case, it is often the right hemisphere that is dominant, thus controlling the left hand. This phenomenon is called brain lateralization. In right-handed people, about 90% of motor and cognitive functions are centralized in the left hemisphere. However, in left-handers, the distribution of functions between the two hemispheres can be more balanced, even reversed. But why does lateralization vary from person to person? Is it a matter of genetics? Many studies show that genetics plays an important role in the hand we use. Research has shown that people with left-handed parents are more likely to become left-handed themselves. This suggests a hereditary component in the preference for the left hand. However, genetics alone is not enough to explain why some people are left-handed. Scientists have not identified a single left-handed gene. Instead, it appears that multiple genes are involved in determining lateralization, making this phenomenon even more complex. Twin studies also show that genetics influences lateralization, but does not explain everything. Even in the case of identical twins, one may be left-handed and the other right-handed, suggesting that the environment also plays a role. The role of the environment in the development of lateralization is still debated, but it is possible that factors such as social pressures, education, and even prenatal exposure to certain hormones can influence an individual's hand preference. Some researchers believe that levels of prenatal hormones, particularly testosterone, could have an impact on brain lateralization and therefore on the dominant hand. Let's now look at the differences between left-handers and right-handers in terms of cognition and creativity. A popular stereotype is that left-handed people are more creative. But is there a scientific basis for this? Studies have suggested that left-handers may be more likely to have divergent thinking, a type of creative thinking that allows you to find multiple solutions to a problem. This could be explained by the fact that the brain lateralization of left-handers is often less marked than in right-handers, which could facilitate more fluid communication between the two hemispheres. That said, while there are studies that show a slight tendency toward creativity in left-handers, it is important to note that these differences are not systematic. Not all left-handers are necessarily more creative, but it is true that many famous artists, writers, and musicians were left-handed, such as Leonardo da Vinci, Ludwig van Beethoven, and Pablo Picasso. But despite their talents, left-handers have often had to adapt to a world designed for right-handers. Living in a predominantly right-handed world can pose challenges for left-handers, both in childhood and in adulthood. Many tools, from scissors to school desks to musical instruments, and even some technologies, are often designed for right-handers. This can make some tasks more difficult for left-handers, especially in childhood, when they have to learn to adapt to an environment that does not take their lateralization into account. In some cultures and at certain times, being left-handed was even frowned upon, even discouraged. Left-handed children were sometimes forced to use their right hand, which could lead to learning and developmental difficulties. The word left itself has long had a negative connotation in many cultures. In English, the word left comes from the Old English lift, which means weak or broken. Fortunately, attitudes towards left-handers have changed considerably over the years. And today, being left-handed is widely accepted. Let's move on to the conclusion to summarize what we have learned about this fascinating phenomenon. Why are some people left-handed? Although science has made progress, there are still mysteries to be solved. Research shows that being left-handed is the result of a complex combination of genetic, neurological, and environmental factors. And although it only affects about 10% of the population, left-handers continue to fascinate us with their particularities and talents. What did you think of this exploration of left-handedness? Did you know that brain lateralization played such an important role in determining our dominant hand? Leave your impressions in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to discover other wonders of the world around us.